Wednesdays here on the program, we like to put the spotlight on the farm women's group Common Ground.
Common Ground is a group of farm women who want to be a resource for consumers who want to know more about how their food is grown. In this segment, we hear from Common Ground volunteer Amy Johnson from Springview on the role of popcorn in her family's operation.
Well, as you know, farmers are always looking for ways to diversify. And we are going to learn about another way that that's being done on Amy Johnson's family farm. Joining me now is Amy Johnson. Amy, it's good to see you today.
Thanks, John, and thanks for having me back on Pure Nebraska.
Yeah, it's always good to hear from you. And we wanted to ask you a little bit more about popcorn. You guys raise some popcorn.
We do. You know, people are really familiar with the phrase, don't put all of your eggs in one basket, just meaning don't risk everything on the success of one venture. Well, that is completely applicable to agriculture. Farmers typically don't plant just one type of crop on their ground, they diversify. So by planting more crops, like on our farm in Springview, we plant field corn, but we also plant edible beans like kidney beans and pinto beans. We have soybeans and one of America's favorite snacks, popcorn.
What are some of the characteristics of popcorn?
You know, for anyone driving by a field, the most distinguishable thing, there's two. One is the stalk or the stem. The field corn is a larger and sturdier stalk. And additionally, the biggest characteristic between popcorn and field corn that would be noticeable to the naked eye was field corn, when it tassels, it grows straight up and kind of branches out on the top of the stalk. But on popcorn, that tassels up and it just kind of drapes over the top. That tassel just kind of drapes over the top of that corn stalk. And that's probably the biggest distinguishing characteristic that someone could drive by and right away notice that that's popcorn in that field versus field corn.
I know you also try to use your fields in a number of ways too, beyond just raising the popcorn.
So beyond just growing a crop to harvest and to sell, farmers have other avenues for revenue that they can consider. So multiple uses of the same piece of ground is just one way to keep that sustainable and diversified. So a lot of farmers and ranchers, just like field corn, cattle will graze on that field, and popcorn is no different. And so on those popcorn fields, we can have cattle come in, either our own cattle or we can rent those stalks out. A lot of them, if they decide not to graze them, they can bale those stalks.
All right. All of that is really interesting. I know a lot of our viewers are going to enjoy hearing about this. And I know another thing they will want to hear about is the recipe that you have coming up.
I do. I'm going to do a very simple recipe that you can get. All the ingredients are probably right in your cupboard. It's Frito dessert bars.
Sounds good. Okay. Thank you, Amy. And we'll see you in a few minutes.